Right, welcome back to Break at the Apex for the Spanish Grand Prix, which, to be honest, probably wasn't the most exciting one up until the end when I
I can't
don't
wait to hear
even.
your take about that. I can't wait to hear your take about that one.
Hey,
You-
I mean,
you-
let's be honest, guys. I think if we're going to make fun of the situation, if we're going to make light of the situation, I think we should just say Mad Max is back. Let's just say that. Daddy Mad Max is back, but Mad Max is back, but he's a daddy now. You know what I mean? So he's not just Mad Max now. He's really Mad Max. He's elevated Mad Max. You know what I mean? Anyways, let's get into the episode straight away. Let's not beat too around the bush. Uh, First of all, BT, how did you think that race went? Just overall, in general.
yeah. So first of all, sorry for not covering the Monaco race. It was boring. We didn't see any value in it. Just to tell you the truth, we were busy with other things. But yeah, no, the race was good. I watched it with my girlfriend. She's starting to understand Formula One a bit, so it's quite exciting. And when that Verstappen thing happened, we both looked at each other with such shock. So let's get into that actually. But the race was cool. Nothing exciting. I think the exciting thing was to see where the cars will be after the new upgrades or the new changes were made to the cars. And nothing was quite surprising, to be honest with you. Thank you, Ferrari. But yeah, that's all.
Yeah, thank you, Ferrari. I mean, Leclerc did good. I mean, that's
Nah, you was
let's just leave
fast.
it.
Nah,
Yeah,
you
we'll
was
leave it there
fast. You
for
was
now.
fast.
Well, yeah. We'll leave it there for now. We'll talk about Hulkenberg passing Hamilton later. Anyways, I thought that.
My
Eh,
goodness.
Anyways, let's look, guys. We all know how clickbait works. We're gonna have to talk about the Max things first because that's definitely what's going in the title. At this point, Max is kind of making our jobs easy because almost every
Mm-hmm.
weekend there's a title to put in there that's got to do with him or the McLarens. Let's be honest. So at the end of the day, it's actually working out great for us. Now, let's talk about Max Verstappen and what we think about what went down. I have I can probably go on all day about it, but I would like to, before I talk, I would like to hear your thoughts. I would like to know from a non Red Bull and a non Max fan, what did you see? What do you think? And how do you describe the situation?
I described the situation as I'm not even going to talk too long about it. It was quite clear. The situation here is that Red Bull was trying all sorts of strategies during that race, and none of them were working. Number two, Max and Red Bull are so frustrated that McLaren are still fast. I think that's the main frustration, is that they were looking forward to this race, and maybe McLaren could have dipped because of all the changes, but McLaren are so dominant, it did frustrate them as well. It equally frustrated Max as well. Um, and just the decision making from Red Bull. Apparently, Red Bull made that decision by themselves.
Mm-hmm.
FIA didn't tell them
Mm-hmm.
that Max should give away the place.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another error from Red Bull that we hardly see.
Mm-hmm.
We hardly see these errors from Red Bull. So I think the way that Max reacted, it was how Max would normally react. Do you understand? At some point, I thought he
Yeah.
will be defiant and not give away the place. But doing what he done to Russell, you could see that he didn't really want to do it. He didn't want to do it,
He was in two minds. He was
but
like, should I do it? Should I not do it? Ah, let me just do it.
so Max,
But
that's all
yeah,
I'm gonna say. Thank you for bringing Formula One back. It's exciting
yeah.
again. That one maneuver you did that whole race made us talk
Yeah,
for this week so far about it. So yeah,
and and
that's
I'm glad,
all.
and I'm glad you say thank you because I also you also have to think, right, and I think Fernando kind of alluded to something like this. Fernando Alonso kind of alluded to something like this, but I'm going to ask the question as well. Like, is Max erratic or is he a genius? Like, I just want you to think about that for a second. Just because, just because you know what? This is how I see it, right? Now, I'm going to give you my honest opinion afterwards, but I'm first going to tell you this. You just think about it like this, right? Let's say he didn't know. I think personally he didn't know that it was the team telling him that. I think he thought that FIA had told the team to do that, right? And in my mind, I think Max reacted to FIA telling, or sorry, to the stewards. I think Max was reacting to the stewards to say, you know what? If he can just push me off the road, I'm going to just push him off the road and let's see what happens. That's what I think was in his head. He thought that it was the stewards telling them that that he must let Russell go. And he thought, you know what? I'm going to show the stewards how two can play at that game. And so you got to ask that question, like, is he erratic or is he a genius? Because if he was correct and it was the stewards that said that he had to let Russell go, they can't have given him a penalty because that's exactly what Russell did, right? He positioned, if you watch it slow-mo, if you watch the slow-mo of how he did that, he positioned that car in such a way that he was in the exact same way that Russell was when Russell pushed him off. But that's what I'm saying, like, you got to ask that question, is Max erratic or is he absolutely a genius? Because you've just got to think about how he put his car in that position to push Russell off. So I think the guy's onto something, but again, it would have been a genius move had the stewards been the one to say let Russell through. Unfortunately, the team decided on their own. Max let him go. It's the rules. And you know why the team did that? Because the last time the team didn't do that, Max lost or got a penalty.
Yeah.
And I think the team were scared he would get another penalty. And then he got another penalty anyways. I personally don't see Max staying at Red Bull for too long because there's things happening there.
I said exactly the same thing to my girlfriend. Yeah.
There are things happening there that clearly this is not the Red Bull that we know. This is not the Red Bull we know. They are first of all trying to protect Max way too much for simple reasons. Exactly. Simple reasons. Last time they told Max don't give the place back, then he got a penalty. Now they're saying Max give the place back. Stewart said nothing. And now he lost his position because he gave the place back. He didn't need to give that place back. In fact, the stewards said they weren't ever going to ask him to give the place back because it was Russell's fault. That first.
Do you know what?
Part.
Who do you think made that call in Red Bull?
I don't know. I'd probably say Horner or GP or Hannah. Anyone on the pit wall would have made that.
That was a tough decision to make, bro. Like
It is. But if you look, they have the same onboards as everybody else. If you look at what Anthony Davidson was showing at the end of the race, it's pretty clear that George lost his car. His car snapped. Okay, so it's quite clear that you can't blame Max for that. Do you know what I mean? So surely they would have been able to see that and say, you know what, we'll just let Max go. We'll fight the fight afterwards. He clearly lost his car. There's no ways we can get a penalty for that. Just let Max go. I guess they're also hesitant because the last time they thought Max wouldn't get a penalty, they would fight it. They got a penalty. But it's I don't know. It's a difficult situation. Anyways, let's get back to Max quickly because this is where I'm going to tell you my honest opinion. My honest opinion is the guy is a father now. Okay, I know that's not relevant to race. I know it's not relevant to racing, but you've got to think about the quote that Alonso made once before. And once they asked Alonso, why are you
Yes.
always the last of the late breakers? And his answer was, because they are fathers and I'm not.
Yeah. Exactly.
And what is he trying to say? They have more to live for than what I do. That's what he was saying, right? And as I say that, I'm getting shivers as I'm saying that, because that's actually such a good line from Alonso to have said that. And it gets me thinking now with Max, who is a father. Like, that's dangerous, bro. I mean, anything could have gone horribly wrong doing that. And quite honestly, I personally, and I know this is going to be strange to a lot of people, I agree with Nico Rosberg. He should have gotten disqualified for that. Never mind a 10-second
Yeah.
penalty. That should have been a disqualification. And quite honestly, yeah, for me, Max should have been disqualified from that race, and that was completely erratic. Now, that doesn't mean, as a Max fan, and for those Max fans that are still watching, that doesn't mean that I'm not compassionate. What's the word? Understanding or reasonable. I completely understand. I completely understand where the frustration came from. First of all, Charles hit him on the straight, and there's very clear evidence that Charles definitely came over. Even Anthony Davidson was showing that Max was actually going more to the left, not to the right, and Charles just knocked him. So already he felt hard done by there. I don't really think Charles had to let him go through, because Charles was slightly ahead in any case. But you would also need to consider, like, surely Charles should have gotten something for that, maybe. We'll
Yeah,
see.
but Charles didn't do it on purpose, though.
No, he didn't. No, he
Let's
didn't.
face
But
it.
no, but in the moment, what I'm saying, in the moment, as a driver, some oaks just smacked you. Cool. And then, literally at the end of that straight, another oak has just smacked you off of the track. Now you go off the track. You've just been smacked twice by two different drivers. Then your team tells you, but you need to let that other driver through. The one that smacked you, you have to let him through. But before all of this, the guy was he literally came in for hards when everybody else came in for softs. Like, and I know a lot of people are going to say, yes, but that's all they had left. Okay. Well, would you rather be a sitting duck with track position at the front of the grid, trying to fend off everybody? Or will you be a sitting duck in third position on tyres that will take 2 laps to warm up, first of all, and not only that, compared to the softs around him, will get nothing out of those tyres?
Yeah,
Like,
it was
I
on
would
the
rather.
hards. Yeah.
Why did he not just stay on the mediums for 5 more laps, because that was all that was left, and just try and fend off being first? Because he would have been first, he would have gotten track position. The McLarens both came in.
That's
So
what
why
I'm
did he?
saying.
Yeah.
That's why I said that the strategy for Verstappen in that race, I didn't understand. He put it, he was on softs, he put it for another set of softs. And
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, I didn't understand the purpose of that. I don't know if you could enlighten me, like, what was whole,
Well,
because,
yeah. So what they did was they tried the 3-stop, which,
yeah,
don't get
yeah,
me
yeah, of
wrong,
course.
but besides that, the 3-stop was actually working quite well, because there was a time in the race where Max was within a pit stop. So
Yes, yes,
so
yes, yes.
what actually worked well was that if something had to happen, like a safety car or whatever, Max would have had a free pit stop, basically.
Yes.
So they played that strategy, I guess, in the instance that if something has to go wrong, it would work in their favor. A. B. He was faster because he was generally on quicker tires most of the time. I mean, he did a 3-stop, everyone did a 2-stop, and he still ended up really close. In fact, after the third pit stop, I think it was, he was literally right behind Lando. So he obviously gained
Yeah.
some time. So
Yes.
it kind of was a good strategy, and it was sort of working in a way. But because of this three stop, they didn't have an extra pair of, say, mediums or softs. They had only hards left, which I understand is the downside. But what I'm saying is, it's only 5 laps left. They could have just left him on mediums, let him get track position at the front of the field, and just let him fend them off for 5 laps. I mean, Max has got to be one of the best defenders in. I mean, he's got to be one of the best attacking drivers, the best defending drivers, the best whatever, like in the last 20 years or so, 10 years or whatever, right? So, I mean, he could have tried to defend them off as much as he could. Um, so
Yeah.
it's very odd that Red Bull did that, but that was the starting point, I think. Once he saw the hards, I think he already knew my race was over, and that already got him going. Then Charles Leclerc knocked him, then Russell knocked him, then they said he must let Russell go through. You can understand the frustration, you can understand that boiling, you know, but yeah, but at no point I think is it okay to do stuff like that, and I genuinely think he should have been disqualified. But then again, you're going to look back and say, but I mean, look at what Senna did to Prost on the bus stop chicane in Spa. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I think it was Spa. It was Spa, yeah. Where he just went
Also,
straight and
look at Hamilton and Vettel. Hamilton was brake testing.
oh, and
Hamilton was
Vettel came in,
brake testing Vettel. Yes, that's another
and Vettel
situation.
came, yeah, Vettel came around and just yeah, that was crazy.
Mm.
Um, but you know what? Vettel calmed down. So Max should be able to calm down too. I think Max needs to. My honest opinion, I really think Max needs to. Dude, he's got 4 championships already, man. Like he needs to just settle down. It's 4. Hey, he's got 4. Yeah, he's got 4
Yeah,
already.
in a
I
row, bro. So
Yeah, dude.
in
He
a
needs to
row.
just settle. Let him settle down. He's got nothing left to prove. He can settle down and wait until he has a good car again. I mean, let's be honest. It is nice watching what he's doing. It's good to see this kind of thing. It makes drama. It creates good racing, and for him not having the best car, but he's still winning races. It is great for us F1 drivers to see or to
Yeah,
witness such a thing. So it is nice. I like that he's still trying really hard, even though he doesn't have the best car. And it also proves a lot of people that he is really a good driver. But at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, cool off, man. Like, race hard. But when you get angry, just woosah moment in the car there, just cool off.
yeah,
Just keep it calm. Anyways, I think we've spoken enough about it. Let's be honest, it's as you said in the beginning, though. Thank you, Max, because it does give us a lot of talking points. It gives us
yeah,
titles. It gives us a lot of those things. So, look, I'm not going to lie. It probably wasn't the most exciting race for most of the race. Um, and I can't say that I found myself very attached to the screen. I was sort of like just there watching
yeah.
it,
Me
but I
too.
wasn't like
Mm.
nothing really drew me to the screen. I mean, even Monaco, I was more attached, and I mean that was probably one of the worst races I've ever watched. But I was still more attached to it because I was still trying to figure out if this two-stop thing was going to make a difference. Uh,
Yeah,
what a waste of 2 hours. But um, yeah, I think the point I'm trying to make is just that there's really not a lot to talk about except for that, and then Ferrari. And there's two, yeah, okay, look, there's 2 things about Ferrari that I think we should talk about. And one of those things are going to be very surprising to maybe a lot of people watching, and maybe even to you, because you have been very critical of your team this year, which is rightfully so, because it's your team. You expect better. But there's a flip side to that coin as well. Charles has done a great job again this weekend. Well done. He got another podium. Hamilton, however, got passed by a Sauber. So, tale of 2 halves in that team. So I don't know if do you want to take the floor, and I'm talking too much again, so I need you to start talking.
Um, I think we kind of jinxed this Hamilton coming to Ferrari thing, and I'm not saying Hamilton is bad or anything like that. I just think that I didn't think Hamilton's first year would actually look like this. He's not doing a bad job or anything like that. I think because he's a 7-time world champion, we expected more from him.
Mm.
And I think it's taken him quite a while to adapt to the team culture, to the car. People are saying he should change his engineer. Um, yeah, and if I've been watching his post interviews very carefully. He was happy in Mola, very happy, all sunshines, all blues, you know, positive answers. Then Spanish Grand Prix, he doesn't give much information. He looked very ticked off, very annoyed. Um, I think he was really unhappy about his strategy as well because he did ask, why did he put early? And another way of also criticizing Ferrari. Ferrari seemed to be very scared to tell Hamilton, can you give Leclerc some lane pass, please? It took Ferrari a while to tell Hamilton, look, Leclerc's faster than you. So can you just I
Step
don't know if
aside.
Ferrari yeah, I don't know if Ferrari are scared that they might lose Hamilton or they're trying to please him too much. The man has signed a contract with you guys, a multi-year contract. He's there for quite some time,
Mm.
you know? So
Mm.
just treat him the way you treat Charles, maybe. He
I
is a
mean,
7-time world
yeah.
champion. He has won a sprint race. Yes, and we're happy about that. But it's either I don't know, it's either Hamilton is very passive aggressive. And I am like that sometimes where I'm annoyed at something, but I'm not ready to talk about it yet. And Ferrari is
Mm.
the wrong team for him to be acting like that. Do you understand? Because Ferrari
Yeah.
still runs the team the very old school way, where they tell the drivers it's a privilege for you to drive for us, not for us to
Mm.
have you. Do you understand?
For sure. For
So
sure.
I think Hamilton needs to be very vocal in the debriefing meetings after the race or before the race or whatever during the weekend, and he needs to state what he wants
Mm.
from the team, because you get clips on Instagram and on social media where it shows him really motivating, getting along with the guys. Then a weekend comes where he's not performing up to par. And I'm not saying he's horrible, he's finishing within the points. Him and Leclerc in this triple header have finished in the points throughout these 3 races. That's good. That means Ferrari is getting somewhere. But I think with us having Hamilton there, the expectations are quite high now. We want to win now, which is it's not something that's going to happen. Going to happen
Not
now. So I think
realistic.
that's the frustration. Yeah, where the frustration is coming from. But in terms of the Spanish Grand Prix, look, Ferrari did what they're supposed to do, be within the points. I'm kind of guessing that you're gonna say that Ferrari has stepped forward a bit in terms of the performance. On my end, I haven't seen that yet. Maybe after a couple of races, I want to see how we're gonna do in Canada. And maybe the next race as well, and see where that goes, because McLaren is looking like the 2020 to 2014 Mercedes, bro. They are blitzing. That car
Yeah.
is yeah,
Yeah.
it's far ahead now. It's far ahead now.
Yeah, bro. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess it is far ahead, but at the same time, last year Spain or the year before Spain with Max Verstappen, he was like a minute
Mm-hmm.
up the road at the end of the race. You know what I mean? Like he
Yeah,
was
yeah, yeah,
miles
yeah.
ahead. I mean, in this situation, it wasn't really that kind of dominance, but the car is still dominant in this. In fact, if you look at the top five drivers, the gap is actually a lot bigger than what it was last year, and this year is supposed
Yeah,
to be the more competitive year. Um,
yeah.
yeah, so the gap is a lot bigger technically compared to last year in the over the top five drivers. And also, I wanted to point out, you spoke about watching Lewis Hamilton's interviews closely. Martin made a video like this on TikTok, and I thought it's actually brilliant, right? Have you seen how? Have you ever noticed how Sky is with Max versus how they are with Lewis.
Yeah.
They scrutinize the hell out of Max, man. But with Lewis, if he's not willing to answer, they just sort of let him be, and then they just move on.
Yeah, to
But
be. Yeah, just move
but
on.
but with Max, it's like, yeah, but what about this? Yeah,
Mm,
but what if, and this, and yeah, but the kids at home, what do they think? It's like, dude, just leave the kid alone. Like, the kid just doesn't want to talk about it. To be fair, guys, I know we're supposed to talk about Ferrari, but just to say this, for once in his life, Max actually did acknowledge he shouldn't have done that. Like, I'm just putting that out there.
yeah.
I mean, he didn't say the words, I'm sorry, but he did say, I should never have done that. So, fair play to Max Verstappen. You've got to give him that. Maturity is clearly there. Well, it's coming. Anyways, back to Ferrari. I love Max, guys. Don't get me wrong, but we have to be honest with ourselves sometimes, man. um, Back to Ferrari. Do you know what's the strangest thing? Do you know that Ferrari is second in the championship?
Yes.
It reminds me of the Sharks in rugby. Maybe you don't know that too much, but I don't think the Sharks have played one good game of rugby, but they are currently in the semi-finals. This whole season, they've looked
Wow.
terrible. They've won they've won 10 out of the last 11 games. They have not won one game convincingly. They have not looked good at all in any of those games. Somehow they just
But
end
they
up
won.
winning. But
Mm.
they're winning and they're in the semi-final. And it's like, that's what Ferrari is to me. It never looks pretty. It never looks good. They never seem to be anywhere, but they're second in the championship. How? Like, what? How? Like, what is happening? And so I think from a constructor's point of view, they are very stable in that way. But the drivers are just not getting, when I say the drivers, I guess Leclerc's getting a lot out of the car, but what I'm trying to say is like, they are a good enough team to be picking up regular points. They're a good enough team where both of them are picking up regular points, but nothing to elevate them to getting excited about. Like, we can't get
Yeah.
excited about Ferrari. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then they're not winning. There's nothing exciting about Ferrari, but they're good enough to have their car in second place. Because they score regular points. And I mean, if you consider Mercedes, and this is where I'm going to go back to Kimi, for example, and why I don't believe Kimi is really all that impressive. Because George is having a great season so far. That's been very clear. So why is Mercedes not in second place? Because Kimi is not getting all the points he needs to, right?
Yes.
And he crashed the car again this weekend or whatever.
This weekend.
They
Yeah.
did crashed it, whatever happened. I don't know if he crashed it or whatever, but he ended up off the road and stopped and DNF, right? It was in the race that he DNF'd, eh? It wasn't quali, it was
Yes.
in the race. Yeah.
In the races.
So again, I mean, it's happened now. What, 2 or 3 races in a row now? So it's yeah. I think Ferrari are going to capitalize on a lot of Kimi errors. Fair enough. The kid's a rookie. Fair enough. He's in a really good car for a rookie. So you've also got to kind of give him that, like, he's in one of the fastest cars and he's a rookie. He needs, he hasn't just gone from F2 to F1. He's gone from F2 to like F1 point something because it's one of the fastest
Yeah.
cars. So it's like,
Mm.
it's fair enough. He's a rookie, but that's where it's going to harm Mercedes, because Mercedes is clearly the second best car. Like, I think that's pretty clear for me, at least. Some tracks maybe Red Bull, but for me, Mercedes is pretty clear. So yeah, I think Ferrari, I think they've done pretty good to keep their second place, considering Kimi's mistakes. But it's just not an exciting car. It doesn't look, nothing about the car is exciting. Leclerc every now and again does something pretty cool, but it's also not like wow compared to what we've seen before from him. And Lewis is just completely underwhelming, completely. And I mean, we can joke about it, and it is funny, but like, mate, he got passed by a Sauber. A guy who's never been on the podium passed him in a Sauber. Like, I just don't really. But
They
let's not
ask
take
him. They
anything.
ask him about it. Eh? They ask him about it. Like, what happened? He said he just lost power. I'm like, how?
Yeah,
Like how?
I don't know. Let's let's just move our attention to Hulkenberg though, because I know the guy's in a Sauber, right? But he he he's actually he's actually done pretty well this season.
Yeah.
If you consider this is his second point scoring. Now you can argue that the first one was a result of chaoticness in I
Mm-hmm.
think it was Australia or something.
Mm-hmm.
But this time it was legit. There was no chaos. It was just legit. He was on it, and the car just worked. Even Bortoleto had a pretty good race. I mean, he didn't get into the points, but he was really good in comparison to other races. So we got to give an applause to Hulk because I definitely think that he's shown that he is really a good racer. He's just never really had a car that's good enough to be there, and he's never been like he is good. But then you also got to consider like when Ricardo drove with him at Renault, they turned that car into a car that can be on podiums, but the podiums always came from Ricardo. Ricardo smashed him in the
Mm.
years that they were together. So you got to think like, okay, he is good, but also he's not great because
I think
you
he's
know,
just a safe option, man. He's solid. You
yeah,
know, you do get drivers like that are just safe drivers. They solid. Nothing too special about them. They can just bring you results. And remember that team is going to be Audi at some point next year, I think. So maybe obviously Audi is saying they'll be in the back of the grid next year because they're starting off. But maybe Audi at some point starts getting to the front. And how old is Hulkenberg now? In his late 30s, right? So I think he's still has about 5 years left of driving. He's not an Alonso, he's not a Hamilton. We're not going to put him there, but I think he's a solid driver. He's highly recommended. His defensive skills are brilliant. I mean, I remember one of the seasons where Alonso would be behind him for like 10 laps in a row, and Alonso could not pass him, and he's well known for that. So, I think if he's in the right situation and he reads the race quite properly and sees certain opportunities, he does have that experience to take advantage
yeah,
of those situations. Yeah.
yeah, for sure, for sure. Oh well, I guess we'll have to wait and see. But for now, we got to give him a round of applause because this weekend he genuinely did a good job in a Sauber.
Yeah, he
You
did.
gotta
Yeah, in
add
the
that
Sauber,
in a
yeah.
Sauber. You have to add that because
Yes. And
of,
he overtook Hamilton.
and he
Like
overtook out in the Sauber. You have to add that part
in the
in the
Sauber.
Sauber. Yes, in the
That's
Sauber.
embarrassing.
No, that's mad. That's
That's
not,
em-
yeah, no,
Bro, when I was looking at that, I'm like, no, man, is this really happening?
no. I just laughed when
Or
I took a I, I
which
took a
tire was
photo of it.
Hamilton in?
I think he
Which
was
tire
on
was
the.
Hamilton?
I think he was also on the hards. I think they also got him on the hards. So it was him and Max, I think.
Oh,
And
mm.
I don't know. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty certain he was also put onto either he was put on a dodgy tire or something happened, mate. But I can't for the life of me think that Sauber passed the Ferrari
Bro,
like
that
that.
sub was on a soft tire, eh? So I was like, what's happening here? But anyway, it happened.
Yeah, really, yeah. No, it's just like I mean, Bru Hulkenberg came fifth in a Sauber, but can you believe that? Fifth. Bru, that's mental.
Must thank Max for
Oh
Max's
yeah, that's
action
true.
there.
It would have been
Yeah,
sixth, but Max got his penalty.
yes,
That's fair. Hey, but it's good. It's a
yeah,
good 10 points for Sauber. Hey, I mean,
yeah,
they didn't get 1 point last year.
yes.
And another Alonso finally got some points. Hajar again,
Mm-hmm.
just really solid.
Brilliant,
Just what an
brilliant.
absolute boss. He is genuinely proving to be. I mean, he's by far the most impressive rookie of the season.
Yes,
Um,
yes, he is.
by far. And Williams very a weekend to forget for Williams. I mean, we got
I
to
was about to actually talk about that weekend to
yeah
forget. I don't know what was happening there. I don't know
yeah.
what was happening.
I think for Williams, I mean, Albon didn't finish. Sainz didn't get any points. It was honestly one of those weekends that they just were absolutely nowhere. Which
Nowhere.
is strange.
The weekend
Which
to
is
forget.
strange. Very much so. But it's so strange because Monaco was the race that actually proved it didn't actually matter what track they were on. They were actually a decent car in comparison to the past. And then they come here, all of a sudden, they didn't get anywhere. So it's quite strange. It was very strange to see. Lawson, very, very unlucky, just one out of the points. Lawson's starting to find his groove back a little,
Yes.
bit by bit.
Mm-hmm.
He's not yet all the way there, but he's certainly getting better, and he's certainly getting his groove back. And I think Hadjar's still beating him, and Hadjar's a rookie, but that's not the point. I think he's slowly getting himself back. It might take some time. Hopefully, they'll give him the time, because quite honestly, come next year, it's chopping block for one of them, because Hadjar will probably go to Red Bull. And if Hadjar goes to Red Bull, I don't know what they do with Yuki. At the moment, Yuki's a paid driver. They give Red Bull a lot of money. So if they end up keeping Yuki or not, I don't know. But you got to also think about this Lindbergh or whatever coming through the ranks. He's also quite promising. They might want to give him a shot next year. I don't know. So it's gonna be one. It's gonna be between Lawson and Tsunoda that loses their seat completely.
Like, again, this Red Bull conversation about their second seat and their future. Red Bull is so sure that Max is going to be there for a long time. Because they're not even like we spoke about this in another episode, is that the scary thing that Red Bull is doing is that they chopping and changing these drivers and not looking at someone for the future just in case Max leaves. So what's going to happen is that maybe Max leaves and they still have problems with the second seat, and now they need to find a number one.
They can't though. How are they gonna? I mean, Brew, just think about this, right? Just think about this. Without Max, Red Bull would probably be the worst or second worst car at the moment.
Yes.
Between Tsunoda and Lawson, they've scored like what, 2 points? What's happening? Hold on, something's happening.
Cool.
To my screen here. Okay. Don't know what happened there. My camera just went off. But between Lawson and Tsunoda, they've scored what, 2 points?
Yeah.
Now, so you tell me, if Max wasn't there, and let's say Lawson and Tsunoda were the two Red Bull drivers, I'm just saying, the Red Bull would pretty much be the worst car on the grid. Max is literally single-handedly the only reason why Red Bull is in the top 4.
Still, yes. And I'm still saying Max will leave at some point. I'm still convinced about that.
If it's gonna continue like this, I can't see him staying. The only thing is, where does he go? That's my only concern. Where does he go? However, if you think about it, with Max, it might.
I know where he's going, bro.
But the thing is, with Max, it could be a situation where he's not gonna go anywhere. He's just gonna leave, because he's got his own team that he wants to build up in GT3 that he's starting with. So he might as well just go and focus on that. I'm just thinking, like, Mercedes don't need him, and everybody needs everybody wants a Max Verstappen. But I will say it with my chest that where Max goes, there will be flames, and certain teams are not for that.
Can't deal with the flames.
Mercedes won't want the flames. Russell and Kimi are doing okay for now, and as long as that car is not the best car, and Kimi can make a couple mistakes, I think they're quite happy with their setup at the moment. Ferrari, I don't know too much about flames, not now. Maybe in the past sometimes, but I don't think now. The only team that I can think will be okay with flames is Alpine because of Flavio. Genuinely, like I'm not even making a joke. I just think he's the only one that doesn't care about flames. Like I think he's between Alpine and for Red Bull. They're the two teams that they don't particularly care about the flames. They kind of embrace that kind of nature, if you know what I mean. I don't know if McLaren are. They don't need to in any ways. They've probably got the better driver pairing along with Ferrari.
I
But
think I'd say Val's maybe that team doesn't like the flame, but Val's the type of guy that he will take the flames.
I think so. I think so. Williams could do something with him. And then, of course, the good old Aston Martin with Honda and Newey, which is
Yeah,
always the
yeah,
open option.
yeah.
But then that would mean Alonso needs to leave, which that's a difficult. I don't
Do,
know.
do
I don't know.
if you are Alonso and you finally have Adrian Newey in your team now, are you really going to retire?
No. I mean, I'll give it a year or
Hope
two with
not.
him. Yeah, no, hell no.
Yes, bro. If you want to go for that third championship and walk into the sunset afterwards, just like Rosberg did, I'll do the same.
Yeah,
I'll do
fair
the
enough.
same.
Fair
Yeah.
enough. All right, man. Let's look. Okay, that last bit of this race review was somewhat unstructured, but that's okay. We just sort of rambled on a little bit about random things, but that's cool. I think at the end of the day, it's nice that we have these conversations still, because it's still relevant and it's still F1. So again, there was really not much to talk about with regards to the race itself.
Let's talk about McLaren.
Uh, let's okay.
Let's talk
You
about
want to talk about
McLaren.
that? Okay,
I would love to talk about McLaren.
you start.
Um, Notice it's over, bro.
Oh, you
It's over,
funny.
bro. It's over, bro.
Yeah,
Piastri's
I think it.
beating you.
Yeah, I think it's becoming pretty clear. Piastri is really he's just on it. Eh? He is just on it. Genuinely, he's just on it.
If you're gonna
And
let Max overtake you in the first lap just like that, you're not winning a championship. You're not.
yeah,
You're not. You're
it's quite
not.
intense. It's quite intense though. Like you really have to think like it's actually mad if Oscar must win this championship. It is mad.
I thought about that. I thought about
Be-
that on Sunday.
Because if you think about this, right? Not only is it mad because you would have thought Lando would be the one, right? But it's mad because you know that Piastri's won a championship in every single thing that he's taken part of, and he won it in his first year of every championship. His first year in F3, his first year in F2. I think he did race F3, but the point is he's won in his first year of every championship. He's been in F1 for what, 2 years? This is his third year now, is it not? You telling me? I mean, imagine. I think it's his third year. It's not his second year. I think it's his third year. Yeah, it's his third year,
Third year, okay.
dude. It's the first year that McLaren is really like firing from the get go. I mean, last year you can say they did, but in the first seven to eight races they weren't really. This year is the first year that they really have a good chance, and the man is taking his opportunities. The guy's what? He's
Yes.
23. He's how old is he? 23.
Crazy, bro.
How, how
And
old? He's 24. How old was Vettel when he? Because Vettel wasn't Vettel the youngest one
yeah, it
to win a
was.
championship.
Mm-hmm.
Youngest
And Norris,
driver.
I've seen recently your girlfriend's in the garage now. This is the wrong season for you to bring your girlfriend. This is the wrong season. You bring your girlfriend around if you're winning a lot of races. And I'm not
Yeah.
saying one race and you go on the podium or you come second for like three more races. You bring your girlfriend along when you're winning every single race.
Yeah, maybe you shouldn't bring your girlfriend. Maybe you shouldn't have a girlfriend at all in this. Maybe you should just
Because
focus on
because
race.
I saw it was the first time I saw Norris's girlfriend, beautiful by the way, saw Norris's girlfriend in Monaco and he won that race. It's like, okay, cool, nice one. but you're not leading the championship. And what we heard about McLaren when Lewis Hamilton was dating his former girlfriend, Lewis Hamilton was a different driver every weekend. It depended on if he had an argument with his girlfriend or not. Some engineer spoke about that. So if you're losing a championship that you're supposed to win
So you're
because
blaming it on the
you've been in the
girlfriend.
team, I am focus, bro.
99 problems and
Focus. No, no.
woman ain't
Focus.
one.
Piastri, I seen you bring your girlfriend. You can bring your girlfriend, bro. You on it. You can
He
bring
brought his
your
sister the
girlfriend.
last one. He had his sister there the last one.
Bro, he can do anything he wants to do. Because he's
His
leading
mom
the
still,
championship.
his mom still, because of the champagne at the end of the race, or something happened. I think he skipped having some champagne or something like that. I can't remember what happened, but his mom tweeted a picture of his sister and said, um, I hope you're looking after your sister or something like that. Like it's great because his sister was at the race. I don't know. His mom is mad. His mom is absolutely mad. She's probably one of the best. She's one of the best mothers of all the drivers. She tweets herself. She's hilarious. Anyways, bro,
Yeah.
we are rambling a lot now, and you know what, guys? We did miss Monaco, so I hope you're enjoying this a little bit. Um, it's F1, guys. That's what we love to do. We love to talk about F1. Let's get in to the fun stuff because it is getting near the close off time. Why am I stuttering? I don't know why I'm stuttering, but we are getting near to the bedtime. BT and myself have a curfew, and if we don't fit curfew, we get into trouble. So let's just finish up in a timely fashion. Okay, BT. Your donkey of the race. And don't cop out and say Lance Stroll because the man didn't even race. Okay, just let that go. Which, to be honest, is a conversation for another day. We could have had that conversation too, to be honest, because that in itself is mad. I mean, you could have just let Dragovic race. He was there. You could have made him start in the pits. But no, apparently, if you haven't qualified, you don't race. But I mean, why could he not just start in the pits? Anyways, let's move on. Okay. Donkey of the race.
Sonoda, bro.
Oh,
I have
dude.
no other
Yeah, dude.
horrible race. Horrible race.
Sonoda was absolutely abysmal. He has been most of the season, but this weekend specifically, he was absolutely abysmal. It's just quite crazy. I'm going to go. I'm gonna go with Max. I feel like he.
Wow.
Yeah, you know what it is for me, hey? I've said this. I said this in a comment on TikTok or Facebook, whatever. That ultimately he wrecked the race for himself. I mean, I know the team played a massive hand in it, but he could have at least still finished fifth. But because of his actions, he absolutely wrecked the entire race for himself. So I mean, you got to consider yeah, man, you can't be doing stuff like that. This doesn't matter how frustrated you get. Just keep your head still and just finish the job. I mean, you were literally a couple laps away. You could have still finished fifth. You could have even caught up to George again. I mean, apparently on the last lap, their wheels were dropping off already on the softs. So, you know, if he just slotted in behind George and continued to try push. So I'm gonna go with Max, man, because I think he wrecked he wrecked his race completely, more so than what his team actually did. So yeah, I'm going with Max. Okay,
I
cool.
mean, in a way, it also made F1 exciting again because we had something to
Of
talk
course,
about on Monday.
of
So
course, it's
yeah,
Tuesday though. It's Tuesday though. Let's just remember that.
yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is Tuesday, guys. It is a late episode, but there's no race this weekend, so we've got things we needed to attend to, so it's all good. So there's no race this weekend, so at least a late episode is probably not the worst thing. So yes, I do agree. He did give us something to talk about. He did make some things exciting, but just as a point of reference, he definitely was. I mean, he definitely destroyed his own race, basically. So, but you know what? The strangest thing, he still scored a point. which is probably more than
Yeah.
Lawson and Sonoda did. So fair enough. Cool. Let's go for the stallion of the race. Who was your stallion?
Sir Charles.
Sir Charles. Sir Charles had a great race. I kind of agree with that. But because I don't want to be boring, I am going to probably have to go with Nico Hulkenberg because he was in a Sauber. Let's be honest. Because, I mean, he came fifth in a Sauber, mate. You can't argue with that, right? Like, you have to. He passed a Ferrari in a Sauber. You know what
In
I
a
mean?
Sauber.
So I'm going to go with Nico Hulkenberg. Okay, cool. Your moment of the weekend, BT. Your moment of the weekend.
Sure. Over the weekend, probably Verstappen overtaking Norris in the first lap, bro. Or just
That
when the race started. That was
that was
amazing.
pretty good. That was pretty good. And
Yeah,
I got to say, it's the second race in a row now where Max has been pretty ballsy on that first turn corners. It's like he's nailed
exactly.
the ruling. He's nailed the ruling there. So sure, fair enough. That's a pretty good pick. I It's the same reason why I made him the donkey. I'm going to make it the moment of the weekend. But I just thought, you know what, mate? Like, as erratic as it is, I love stuff like that, man. And it's not because of the drama. I just love the power play, man. I love it when guys do things like that. I just think it's so boss. You know what I mean? Like, bear in mind, at the time, I was saying, at the time, everyone thinks it was the stewards saying that Max must let him go. I just thought like it was a proper middle finger to the stewards for Max to do that. And I
Yeah,
just love that. I love that. I love that because Max constantly rocks the boat with the stewards and with the FIA. He constantly rocks the boat with the media and stuff. And I just love that because it's such a power play and it's like a big I don't give a, do you know what I mean, kind of thing.
yeah.
And I love that. So that's gonna be my moment of the weekend. Cool. So that is that. Predictions. Now, we missed the last Grand Prix, so we did not make predictions for this race. So what we're going to do is we are going to give predictions for the next race, which is Montreal, I think, Canada. And I need to still add the points for our Monaco predictions, but I'll do that later. It's fine. So, for pole position in Canada, BT, who are you going to go for?
I'm gonna go for Norris. Can't believe I'm doing this.
You're going for Norris.
Yeah.
Okay, I am going to go for Piastri. It's quite strange because I feel like, because I'm looking at my line here, right, and it's mostly Norris or Piastri, and then like one time I chose Charles. And it's the funniest thing, I feel like every time I pick the one, it's the other one that gets pole instead. But I'm still leading the championship, so I'll take it. Anyways, I'm going to go Piastri, you're going to go Norris. Awesome stuff. BT, your top three.
I'm going to say Piastri, Leclerc, Max.
Okay. So I like that. I like that. Although I'm not so, you see, the thing with Ferrari, yeah, you see, Ferrari always scares me, man. I'm also thinking of throwing Max in there. I think he's going to come back from this race and absolutely do a madness. But I'm just thinking that McLaren is just on another level at the moment, right? So I'm going to stick with Piastri. Piastri on pole, Piastri to win, Norris, and then Max. I think that's going to be the same as what it was now in Spain, had Max not been screwed and then screwed himself thereafter. I think it would have been that, so I'm going to go with that again. Cool. Your bold prediction for the Canadian Grand Prix.
Seeing that I chose Norris on pole, Max and Leclerc will get past him in the first lap. We know how Norris is when he's on pole. There's a lot of clips of him being on
Okay, so
pole. What happens?
Max and Leclerc both to pass Norris on lap one. Okay, Max and Leclerc both to pass Norris on lap one. That's pretty bold, to be honest, because two cars passing Norris on lap one, that's quite hectic. Then, I You see, I was gonna go somewhere on the line of the weather because sometimes the
Yeah,
weather
we
there
know
can
how
be
Canada
pretty
is.
hectic. Yeah.
Yeah, it
So
rains.
I'm gonna go with there's gonna be two red flags in the race. I mean, is that bold? I guess that is quite
Damn.
bold. Two red flags is pretty.
Yeah, that's
Oh
bold.
yeah, that might be way too bold. Damn, two red flags. That means they have to stop the race twice. If they stop the race twice, that generally means they're not going to end up finishing the race. Nah, but maybe I should leave that one then. Um, yeah, I'm gonna go with one red flag. I think that's still bold enough. I'm gonna say with the flag, the race is gonna get red flagged at least once. Red flag at least once in the race. Awesome stuff, BT. Let me know what you rated the race out of 10.
Um, I'm gonna give it a 7.
A 7.
I was, yeah, I was gonna give it a 6.5, but Max Gunn did it again. Max Gunn did it again. So you
That's
gotta
fair.
you gotta add a point for that, bro. You
That's
know?
fair. That is
Oh
fair.
my goodness.
I was gonna go for like a 4, 4.5.
Damn.
And then with the whole max thing, maybe like a 5, 5.5. So yeah, I'm gonna give it a 5.5. I mean, it was like I said, man, nothing really interested me in the race. It really wasn't that great. So I'm gonna go for a 5.5. BT went for a 7.5.
No, no, 7.
Let
No, 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 no. 7,
7,
7,
7, 7. So,
7.
0.5 is just too much. Too much.
No, too
7.5
much.
too much. Okay, cool.
Too much.
Guys, let us know in the comments what you thought of the race. Give us your rating out of 10. And let us know what you think about Max. I mean, that would be quite interesting. Anyhow, guys, have a very good evening or a very good day whenever you're
Cheers.
watching this, wherever you're watching it. Cheers.